Welcome to the lighter side of the dark side. It's your weekly freak show here on Renegade Radio and all podcast catchers and iHeartRadio and YouTube. It's the Dark Mark Show. Sort of. I'm Dark Mark, the goth comedian, and as always, everybody's favorite horror writer, Nicole Six.
Hello.
Nicole, we're doing something different this week.
This
may be a spin-off show.
We'll see.
You know how they have spin-offs of all sorts of things.
Oh, yes.
This may be a spin-off podcast because, I was, because it was a short holiday weekend. We had so much fun on July 4th. We had a lot more fun than the guy that I just read about in LA that blew a firecracker off in his hands and died. But, yeah.
Brutal.
But because when we were driving home, we saw a lot of people with the amateur firecrackers. You got to be But anyway, neither here nor there. Trying something different. I might spin this off into another podcast, and I don't know if it's always going to be with Nicole or with other guests talking about movies. Because I listen to a lot of podcasts. Basically, just a bunch of people sitting around bullshitting, talking about movies, and that's what we're going to do today. What do you think, Nicole? Do you think you're going to be there the whole time, or should I get at different people, or?
I think it should be rotating guests. I don't mind doing it full time, but I think to keep with the way that you interview, you should probably do more than just me. I would be down to do it at least once a month, and then you rotate out guests. Yeah.
And I'm trying to think of a name for it too, but we'll figure that out. Before we get started, though, even though this is a spin-off show, but it is still the Dark Mark Show, we're being sponsored, and I need this today. We were partying late last night. So I need to wake up. So I've got some Raised energy drink. This is the last Galaxy Burst. I have the Voodoo on the way, which you'll be mixing with vodka. But you really like the Galaxy Burst. I think this would mix very good with vodka as well.
I think all of them would mix very well with vodka. I think they have created an energy drink that unintentionally mixes very well with vodka.
It may not be unintentionally, but Galaxy Burst, as you might, did I describe it right? It's kind of like Fruit Loops or Fruity Pebbles.
Yeah.
As opposed to Voodoo, which is more of a traditional fruit punch flavor, but it's delicious. And the best part about Raised energy drinks, you can't get them in stores. You can get them in gyms, GNCs, or better yet, use our code in the description on our YouTube page or on our podcast page, wherever you listen to us on podcasts, the podcast description. You get 15% off a case. That's the cheapest way to get the best energy drink. It works. It really, not only does it taste great, it really gets you wide awake.
Yeah, and it's very energetic.
The best part about it, 0 calories, 0 carbs. I already popped this up. Delicious. But here's what we're going to be talking about today, because we're going to be talking about what you said on a previous podcast was your favorite horror movie. Alien
it's not my favorite horror movie. It's one of my favorite horror movies.
One of your 10 favorite horror movies of all time. Yeah. Alien versus Predator.
Yeah.
Now the first question I have is this really a horror movie?
I think so. They have human sacrifice. They have a lot of gross stuff. I would call it a horror movie. Yes, it's an action film, but like Resident Evil, it's still horror because of the action, who the action's against.
Would it surprise you to know that this was rated PG-13?
Wow. Well, I guess there wasn't anything sexual in it.
Well, there was. There was a lot of alien blood and I guess predator blood, but I don't think there was really human blood.
No, they didn't. Yeah, you're right. There really wasn't much.
And there's one instance of the word fuck in it, which I've come to find out is allowed in PG-13. You can say fuck one time in a movie, but it can't be sexual. It has to be fucking or an extra, right. Just an adjective. It can't be like let's go fucking. You can't do that, but you can say fucking one time, which is how now when you see a lot of superhero movies, you hear fuck a lot. So. But before we get into Alien versus Predator, I'm going to ask you real quick what you think of the previous Alien movies to this now.
Oh, I love Alien. I love Aliens. Alien 3 is okay. Alien Resurrection, I don't hate it like a lot of people do, but it's definitely probably the weakest in the franchise next to Alien versus Predator Requiem.
Yeah, we're gonna get to Alien. And by the way, it's not Alien versus Predator Requiem. It's Aliens versus Predator Requiem.
Oh,
There's so many weird things about these movies. But anyway, so what was the first time you saw Alien?
Actually, I was an adult. So, fun little story about me. I read this book when I was like 8 years old called Invasion of the Blue Lights. And it was all about how aliens were coming down here to eat us. So I had already watched this documentary on cannibals when I was like 4. So I had like this fear of being eaten by humans. And then I was suddenly afraid of being eaten by aliens. So I knew the alien movies were going to actually scare me. So I chose not to watch them until I was older. And then when I was older, I watched them and they were really great. But it was actually Resident Evil got me into not being afraid of zombies or like being eaten alive anymore. So after I watched, it would have been right after I watched Resident Evil for the first time, I watched Alien.
Everybody wants to eat Nicole.
Scary stuff. I was afraid of piranhas too. Like, I'm like, there's so many things, like I'll never go to the Amazon. Too many things want to eat you.
Yeah, for as many piranha movies as there are, most people have never seen a piranha. I've never come across it unless it was in a zoo or an aquarium or something.
Yeah.
But sharks, sharks too. You don't, I'm sure.
There
people
are like so few shark deaths. If you actually look at the statistics, it's like hardly any.
Right. They really need to make a jellyfish.
What?
They really make. Maybe I'll do it. They need to make a jellyfish movie because that's what I was scared of going to the beach because I would get bit by jellyfish all the time. But
jellyfish are scary.
First time I saw Alien, I was 9 years old, and my mother put it on, and it scared me half to death. It was my mom she loved Halloween, she loved Friday the 13th, all those movies, and it was like so she put it on, and my sister loved scary movies too, so she would put on the scary movies, and she put on Alien, and man, it was so scary I couldn't eat eggs for like 6 months after that.
That's amazing.
Because the alien, no, seriously, she would goof on me. She'd like, want some eggs? This is an alien egg. I was like, I was 9 years old. It was horrible. And what the weird thing was, for Christmas, she got me an alien doll that had the protruding mouth come out, and I loved it. I had it all the time. I was always playing around with it, and to me, that wasn't scary, but the movie was really scary.
Yeah.
And the odd thing was, I did not see Aliens till much later. I saw Alien 3 and Alien Resurrection before I saw Aliens. I always heard it was good, but my mom never watched it. I don't think she still has never watched it. And, I love James Cameron. I love the cast. Heard it was good, but I didn't watch it till like maybe 2000 something. And yeah, it's good.
Yeah, it's really good.
But that's an action. There's scary parts, but they turned what was a horror movie into an action movie, really.
Yeah, I agree.
And
I like the characters though. Like they developed each of the characters, but they did the same thing with the first Alien. Like they did a good job of briefly giving you a feeling of what each character was like.
Yeah, and you think.
That's another thing I like about Alien versus Predator is they had all these different experts in their field. So each character had their own thing going on. I thought that was very interesting. Like, I don't remember all the names of the characters, but the one main guy that survives the longest, he was like a really interesting character because like he dug up fossils and he did he did ruins and all that stuff. And he was like an actual intelligent mind. And they had somebody for everything. Somebody for the weapons experts, somebody for the exploration experts, and then they had the main girl, of course, who was just a master of ice climbing.
And Alien 3 flawed, but it does have that one shot of Sigourney Weaver, the close-up of Sigourney Weaver, the close-up of her face with the alien coming in. That is iconic, and Alien versus Predator rips that off about 3 or 4 times, but it's really good. But all those in Alien Resurrection, which is not as well. The first two are really strong.
Yeah.
The third one had potential, and David Fincher was his first movie, and there's a lot of stuff going on. Could have been good. It was, it was
It
definitely.
was okay. That's how I feel like. I feel like it was an okay movie. I liked the ending with her, with the alien coming out of her and her pushing it down and like going into
Right.
I like that stuff. I thought it was cinematically, there were a lot of scenes that were really cool. As you said, like the one with the alien, like right here, breathing on her.
And Alien Resurrection, great cast.
Yeah.
You got Winona Ryder, you got Brad Dourif, you got Michael Wincott, you got Ron Perlman. Great cast, and just I think when they had the combination human alien, it just takes you out of it.
Yeah.
That was lame. But and then when it's like parting out of the spaceship, it's like it just didn't work. So then and they were taught, and then Predator. When did you first see the first Predator? The Arnold Schwarzenegger Predator. Have you ever seen the Arnold Schwarzenegger Predator?
I have. I have not watched all of Predators 2.
Yeah.
I have watched most of it. It was on TV, so I don't feel like I've seen the real one. I was a teenager, I want to say. I didn't wait as long as with Alien. It was a slow movie, in my opinion.
Yeah, this is I debate people on this a lot, and it's funny because I didn't think because
I'm not saying it was bad. I'm just saying it was slow.
No, it's not bad. Well, especially when you compare it. Well, you compare it to other Schwarzenegger horror or action movies at the time. He was right in the middle of his big run. He had Conan, Terminator, Commando, The Running Man, and Predators right there, and True Lies is coming around the corner in Terminator 2.
I love True Lies.
Yeah, so he was right in the middle of that amazing run, and it's sort of like I kind of as I was saying, I will talk about later. I kind of when you said Alien versus Predator is one of your favorite horror movies, I was like, I don't remember it being that good, but I conflated it with AVPR, Aliens versus Predator Requiem, and I kept mixing them up with Arnold Schwarzenegger. Commando and Predator sort of blend in for me, and I saw Commando again for the first time since I was a kid, and I was like, oh, okay, it's totally different than I remember because I was conflating it with Predator. I don't think I've seen Predator since I was a kid, the first one.
Yeah.
And well, my dad used to.
And it has to be slow because there's only so many people to kill, but so it's not really its fault, in my opinion.
But Alien versus Predator has the same amount of people.
Yeah, but Alien versus Predator had like all that. Here's the thing I liked about Alien versus Predator is it came up with all this unique mythology, which, as you mentioned, it was in Predators also, but it was slightly different in Alien versus Predator because they're including the alien part of it, right. And so there's a lot of build up before the first kill. There's a lot of information you have to get into before they kill anybody. With Predator, it was he's on his mission, and then his men start dying.
But he's Arnold Schwarzenegger, so he's going to survive.
Yes.
And I remember when I was a kid, and maybe it's because I was a kid. I remember like when the Predators were invisible, I thought that was the coolest. But when they just revealed their form and stopped being invisible, I was like, yeah, it's kind of. I was a little disappointed with the way it turned out.
Oh, I like the look of the Predator, but I had already seen what Predators look like before I watched Predator because it's
right.
like.
Right. But yeah, it was so
it would be different is what I'm saying if I had been watching it and I saw the reveal for the first time. For me, I already knew what a Predator looked like, so when I saw the reveal, it wasn't a surprise. So I get why it would be a little bit of a letdown if you were expecting something. I don't know. What were you expecting?
I don't know what I was expecting. I did see some behind the scenes of what they originally thought it was going to be when Jean-Claude Van Damme was supposed to play the Predator.
Oh.
And he was in the suit. He got fired from the movie. He was the original Predator, and they had like a weird, like kind of like duck-looking sort of thing as the head. That's and it looked horrendous. And I guess it's like 100 degrees, and he kept Jean-Claude Van Damme kept passing out, and I guess he was a real. And I like Jean-Claude Van Damme. I think he's fun, but apparently he was a real pain in the ass to deal with on set, and they fired him. But
wow.
but that's how we got the Predator that looks the way it looks now, because they totally redesigned the costume. And the guy that replaced him is the guy who played the gorilla, or not the gorilla, what was it? The Bigfoot in Harry and the Hendersons.
No way.
And that dude's like 7 foot tall.
Yeah.
So Jean-Claude Van Damme's like 5'10", so he would have been like more of a. And the rumor also is that he wanted to incorporate more kickboxing, and I'm sure he wanted to do his famous split move at some point, and they said no. But,
well, if you've ever watched Predators, which I also really love because I love the concept of taking all of Earth's greatest predators and putting them against the Predators. I like that a lot. They talk about how he sets this, one of the people that had died set a trap, and they talk about how heavy and bigger the Predators are than us. So that probably, thanks to that change in the movie, you now have that part where the Predators are not like equal to us, they're bigger and stronger.
Right. So thank you, Jean-Claude Van Damme, for the Predator thing. Now, I thought Predator 2 was better than Predator.
I think again, I only watched on TV. I need to watch it again. I'm going through all of them right now. It's not, I don't dislike the Predators. I just don't like them as much as I like the Alien movies. And I think that has a lot to do with the female.
They're not as good.
Well, there's also, I like the strong female leads. And like, that's also another thing I liked about Predators is there was a strong female lead. And there's still like a bunch of strong men. I need to usually have some sort of feminine energy for me to really love something.
Right. But I mean, and this is why a lot of people scoffed at Alien versus Predator, is that the Alien movies are so much better than Predator. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
To me, the best Predator movie, just solo Predator movie, is Predator 2. And a lot of that mythology that they started in Predator 2 is in Alien versus Predator.
Yeah.
And another great cast. They had, Danny Glover. They had Gary Busey was great. They had Bill Paxton, and the one thing that has not aged well.
This is a really good cast.
It's really good, but the one thing that has not aged well is because nobody has any reference of this to who this guy is, but Morton Downey Jr., who was basically the prototype for Fox News and all these and Alex Jones and all the screaming conservatives, was like the newscaster in Predators. And I think at the time it was like,
that guy was such a dick, in my opinion.
Well, yeah, I mean, he seemed to be a dick personally, and that was his whole shtick. Is he had a show in the late '80s where he would, it was like Bill O'Reilly on steroids, or whatever, Ben Shapiro on steroids. This guy, he had like his whole thing is he had like these podiums they called loudmouths, and he would have but it's weird to watch these shows now in retrospect, because he actually let the liberals talk and give their point of view, and then would scream at him and smoke in his face and try to threaten to fight him. But he would actually let them get their views out. Now you can't even get a word out because people are screaming at you. But back then he was like, okay, state your case, and the guy would state his case. He's like, all right, you're full of crap, and start smoking in his face and yelling at him. And that was like a big
certainly changed a lot.
Yes, so he's there's a good documentary. It's called Evocador, about him and his show, which was hot for like a year, and then he disappeared in the cultural chasm, and that was 30 years ago, so everybody forgot about it. But that's the weak link in the cast. Everybody else is great. So, and then at the end, the big reveal that the Predator, just as with Alien versus Predator, they give Danny Glover a weapon.
Mm-hmm.
And then he sees like all these creatures they've been hunting, and the alien was one of the creatures that they were hunting.
Yes.
Now, did you read the comic books?
I read a couple. I mean, Dark Horse had the rights to it, and I used to cover Dark Horse comics when I was a journalist. So a pop culture journalist, not like a Nobel Prize winning I don't know. Anyway,
you wrote comic books, and you, I'm guessing, reviewed comic books, and
I did, and I reviewed some of the Alien versus Predator. There was an Alien versus Predator series, but I reviewed some of the Alien ones mostly, not so much Predator.
Oh, you read the Alien versus Predator comic books?
Yeah.
Are they any good?
I'm gonna say everything Dark Horse ever puts out is good. They have a good. I don't really think they tie in. Like, you don't need to read them you're not missing anything if you don't read them.
Okay, yeah, because that was when like in the mid '90s when
But
like,
it was the same way with the Buffy comic books until the latest season of Buffy. But back when I was a kid and I read the Buffy comic books, they were just like extra stuff. It's just extra stuff. It's fan service.
right. So yeah, because I remember back in those days, it was like everything was a crossover. They had Batman versus Predator. They had I think I flipped through that one, and Batman versus Judge Dredd, and they just had like DC versus Marvel. Everything was just a crossover. And so Alien versus Predator, I was like, yeah, okay. I always thought the Alien was up here.
I remember one of the years I went there to Comic-Con. They had this big mural of the Alien versus the Predator.
So it was when the movie's coming out?
I think when Requiem was coming out.
Okay.
It was for the comic, but I might be wrong. But I just remember this big, really gorgeously illustrated Alien versus Predator mural.
I'm surprised they didn't have a guy dressed in an alien outfit and a guy dressed in a Predator outfit.
Right? That'd be funny.
I
think there was, you could take I think they did do an Aliens booth. I know they did a Falling Skies booth. Falling Skies was a mini-series, or not a mini-series, a 3-season series on TNT about, it was kind of like Independence Day. It was about aliens taking over the Earth and Earth having to fight back. And it was like it reminds me a lot of Independence Day. And so they did a booth where you could stand in front of a screen and they give you guns. And I'm pretty sure they did the same thing with Predator or Alien as well.
We're really getting into the nerd realm right now. I think we just joined the Nerd Legion. But anyway, so I
used to be a lot nerdier. I'm still nerdy, but I used to be very nerdy back in my.
Oh, stop it!
The bowl cut.
When you had the bowl cut and the bangs, that's when you were at your nerdiest.
That's when I was at my nerdiest. Yeah.
Oh wow, I miss nerdy Nicole. I guess I bring out nerdy Nicole tonight. I don't know, but
yeah, you're getting me. Yeah, I'm a little. I have a problem where I don't memorize everything, and so I don't sound like an actual nerd who can tell you the names and the dates and all that stuff.
Was that you putting on your glasses?
That was me putting on my glasses.
Oh, okay. Yeah, your glasses fell down your nose, so you were putting them back up. Did you ever wear glasses? Were you that nerdy?
I had some. When I was a child, they were worried I would need glasses, so they prescribed them for me. But I didn't like them, and I kept breaking them, and it was too expensive for them to keep replacing them, so they stopped giving me glasses. But I have really good eyesight. I don't actually need them. I have astigmatism in my left eye, and they were worried that it would get in the way, but it never has. It just makes it. I can see my fingers still at this side, and it's all the way behind my head. That's how the astigmatism does. It just makes it so. Can you see yours? You had to move.
I don't think so. I can see it on the screen. I can't see it behind me, but
yeah. So the astigmatism makes my eye have a wider scope. Like that's all it does. So the glasses. When I had the glasses, this eye was like magnified huge to try to make it like focus.
Oh, okay.
So it was so silly. I looked like an owl. It was weird. So
I'm not supposed to see my fingers when they're back.
Right.
Okay.
Well, when they're back.
You had me worried for a second. Like, wait, am I supposed to see my finger here? I don't know.
No, that was my point. Is it just changed the way I see differently, but I don't see badly. So the glasses actually hurt my vision because I couldn't I understand they were worried because I had a different eye, but the different eye is good. It's a good eye. It just sees things slightly differently.
Well, because to get away from your eyesight. Back to what we were talking about. So Alien versus Predator, they were thinking about doing that after Alien 3 was a flop.
Okay.
And Alien Resurrection came in. And by the way, there is one scene in Alien Resurrection which is great when the alien's behind the glass and Brad Dourif like starts making faces at it through the glass.
Yeah.
That scene's classic. But anyway,
was it Alien 3 or Alien Resurrection where they start biting each other to get through the to get the acid going? Oh, okay, that was a really cool scene. Yeah.
Maybe it's Alien Resurrection. Maybe it's better than you
I
remember.
can't remember. It was 3 or Resurrection though.
I
It
know
was one of the I think it was Resurrection.
the only thing I remember from Alien 3 was that shot, like I said, of the alien coming in, or
Yeah.
this, like that, and also the when they start
It
the whole
definitely
race.
was Resurrection because I think it was the same aliens, the ones that were behind the glass. There were like 3 of them. And
Oh
then,
yeah, no, it was a Resurrection. You're right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then they start like attacking that one and making him bleed so they can get out.
So the floor can melt from the acid and they can get out. Yeah.
I thought that was super cool.
No, the only other thing I remember from Alien 3 is when and I didn't see it that long ago, but when they have the relay race and that big dramatic and they have that big zoom shot on Charles Dutton, he's like, it started. And that's so they were trying to develop Alien versus Predator, and then they did Alien Resurrection instead. And then there was a rumor that James Cameron and Ridley Scott were collaborating together on like an Alien 5 to redo the damage, and that just never panned out, but that would have been interesting to have.
Yeah.
Obviously, Ridley Scott did the original Alien and James Cameron did the Aliens, so have them collaborate would be amazing, but that didn't happen. And they had several pitches for Alien versus Predator, and the one that finally they went with was Paul W.S. Anderson, the director of Alien versus Predator, who I like a lot, and I think
I like him a lot too. I think
he gets a bad rap, and the reason he gets a bad rap, I think, is because he has the same name as Paul Thomas Anderson, who's directed some terrific movies too, like Boogie Nights and The Master and Magnolia and There Will Be Blood, and in my opinion, some real shitty movies. Like he's had a couple duds in my opinion. I thought
I like Paul W.S. Anderson. I like the original Mortal Kombat movie that he did. I like I love what he did with the Resident Evil series.
Mortal Kombat rules. Mortal Kombat rules. Especially, did you see the new Mortal Kombat?
I did. Yeah.
It's okay.
I think I like that they had more of a cultural representation, like, because I still think that I can't remember his name, but the guy who played Shang Tsung, he's really great. He's Pacific Islander. I think he did a great job, and I think I want to say it's Robin
Corey Nakalawa, or whatever his name is. I think his name's carrying something. Yeah, but he's been in a lot of movies.
I love him in Rising Sun too. Like he's
great.
Just
he's great.
Yeah. So I liked the Asian representation they had in Mortal Kombat, but they definitely could have used more. And so having the new Mortal Kombat, I think they did a good job making it culturally accurate. It's pretty badass. I still like the original Mortal Kombat more because I like the cheesiness to it. I like the witty one-liners. I like the way Johnny Cage is. I just had a lot of fun with it.
I agree with you. I love the original Mortal Kombat. I remember going to see it in the theaters and having a blast. I remember and I played the video game, but it wasn't like I was like a big video game guy or a big Mortal Kombat guy. Like if it was there in an arcade, I would watch.
I was huge into Mortal Kombat, but that's because it had girls.
Yeah.
And I had really cool girls I could play games with. Like I remember when I was playing I was very young. I want to say 8 or 9, and I was playing as Sonya, and just like I knew her move where she would flip over and put her legs around your neck and flip you, and I loved it. And then when the movie came out, she was so badass in that movie. I was just like, I loved it. Like she was hot and badass, and like the scene where she fights Kano is just awesome. I was a kid and I was just blown away when I was seeing something like that.
Because I remember I wasn't like a big. I mean, like I said, if it was there, I would play it. It was fun. I never had a video game system at home, so I didn't really.
I played at daycare. I didn't have one at home either, but I was at daycare pretty much every day.
At home. But I remember seeing the coming attraction. I was like, that looks good. And I went to see it with my friend, and it was fun. It was fun, yeah. And some of the special effects haven't dated well, but not too many. It's still like it's a fun. It whips by real fast. It's fun, and I liked it. The new Mortal Kombat, once again, I thought it was a little too serious, but they didn't.
That's what they were going for, though. They were trying to not be like the original one. They were trying to be what they thought it should be.
Right. And Mortal Kombat Annihilation, which Paul W.S. Anderson had nothing to do with, was a piece of shit. Mortal Kombat Annihilation is a piece of garbage, but that had nothing to do with
It is, and that sucks so much because it had the potential to be good, but it was so cheesy.
It was
like
one of the worst movies, not just sequels, but just worst movies I've ever seen in my life. And but great soundtrack.
Yeah.
I listen to the soundtrack album all the time, but
oh yeah, the soundtracks are great on
great
both
industrial, great industrial and techno tracks, but the movie is god awful. But then he did I think Soldier, which is I don't remember a lot. I did see it, but oddly enough, that's a loose Blade Runner sequel.
Oh, okay.
Based on a Philip K. Dick story, and apparently it's in the same world and there's replicants, things like that. And then he did one of your other favorite movies, Event Horizon, which I have not seen.
I love Event Horizon. I actually realized afterwards I didn't put that on my top 10 list, and it should have been on there. Because Event Horizon is one of the scariest sci-fi movies ever.
Apparently one of the glorious, from what I understand as well.
It's pretty gory. Yeah. I like it a lot, though. I really do.
And by the way, you know how you were like, geez, I don't know if we can talk about Alien vs. Predator for an hour. It's already been a half hour. We haven't even talked about it. But and he did, and then he did the Resident Evil stuff, which is I love those. I love those
people
movies.
are so torn on that, but I fucking love them. Like I love them.
Well, I mean, some are better than others, but
they helped me conquer my own fears. Like they helped me be like, okay, if alien or if anything comes to try to eat me, I'll just kick its ass. That's what I'll do.
So if you see Nicole jumping in the air and kicking a dog like Mila Jovovich, now you know why. She saw which is an iconic image. That's the thing about Paul W.S. Anderson. He makes genre movies. He makes silly popcorn movies, but he does them well. And I'm always bitching about the comic book movies and the movies that just get shoved down our throats, and Marvel movies and all this. But I think he does that type of thing better than almost anybody. I think he's better than Michael Bay. I think he's better than a lot of people.
He's definitely better than Michael Bay. I can barely tolerate Michael Bay. Like there's something about what his vision of the world is that I just don't line up with.
Although I will give it up to him as a craftsman. I mean, he can wrangle together something that he knows how to get special effects people that make good special effects, sound editing, and stuff like that, which is a skill. But
it's just too much. It's like it's overkill always. That's why I can't. I mean, you're right. They're very good at special effects, but it's too extra, in my opinion.
But I think with the Paul W.S. Anderson movies, the ones that I've seen, and I haven't seen Event Horizon, which is supposedly his darkest and glorious.
You should watch it. You would like it.
I'll watch it. But and people are going to compare him to Ridley Scott and James Cameron, and I would. It may be blasphemy because I think James Cameron and Ridley Scott have transcended genre.
Yeah, there are
other types of movies.
If you put him in the same room as Ridley Scott and James Cameron, he's not going to be number one, that's for sure. But he's still really great. And if I had to choose, I think I would say I would watch Ridley Scott movie first, then Paul W.S. Anderson, then James Cameron. I like him more than James Cameron, but people would definitely say that James Cameron's the better director. But I like James Cameron. I enjoy it, but he has I didn't like Avatar, man.
I didn't like Avatar either.
He has a tendency.
The 3D was great. And
Michael Bay makes his world too flashy. James Cameron makes his world too complex, which has worked really well in Aliens because each of the characters had their own complex stories.
Right.
But that was still more fast paced. Usually a James Cameron film, when he's allowed to do it the way he wants to, is very drawn out.
And he's allowed to do everything the way he wants to these days.
Yeah. But he's very, very good. I'm definitely not saying he's bad or anything. I'm just saying that I like the popcorn stuff. So
I'll tell you what James Cameron is great at, because I was watching a clip from Alien and I was thinking about the Terminator movies. Lighting.
Yeah, he is.
I don't think anybody likes a movie better than James Cameron. And I'm sure it takes forever and is a nightmare for everybody, but just the blues and things. And I'm colorblind, but just the way things just pop up.
That's what I love.
Even Avatar, the color.
I was gonna say, you can tell that Avatar is a beautiful world. Like he just sees beauty in everything James Cameron does, and he directs a way that has beauty. Like Titanic is one of the most visually stunning films of all time, in my opinion.
But I will take Paul W.S. Anderson over bad Paul Thomas Anderson any day. I thought Inherent Vice was terrible. There's a couple of movies I can think of that were clunkers in the Paul Thomas Anderson au revoir. Anyway, so we're gonna talk about Alien vs. Predator, the actual movie. So he got this going, and when this was first announced, Sigourney Weaver said she really was against it. I don't think she was ever approached, or I'm sure maybe she was approached, but she dismissed it outright. And speaking of James Cameron said that he thought it was a dumb idea. He thought it was like Frankenstein.
I'm sure he creates these serious, well-developed worlds.
No, but he just thought he's like, this is stupid. It's like Frankenstein versus the Wolfman, and Freddy versus Jason I think just came out too, so they were trying to do that. And then after he saw the movie, he said, you know what? I was wrong. This is pretty good. I think it's probably the second best, the third best Alien movie. And in retrospect, I have to agree.
I think so too. I do.
Aliens, and there's a big gap between Aliens and Alien versus Predator. I'll give you that.
Yeah.
But it's better than Alien.
Well, just look at what else we had. I mean, we had Alien.
It's better than Alien 3. It's better than Alien Resurrection.
Yeah.
It's better than Prometheus.
I like Prometheus a lot. I don't know which is better. I have a hard time saying. I mean, Prometheus was interesting. Like but it's how like Prometheus and Covenant, it's the same thing. Like Covenant wasn't as good, just like Requiem wasn't as good as Alien.
I didn't see Covenant. I
don't want to ruin it for you, but it's just kind of like it's just kind of there, It wasn't. I want to watch it again because I've been watching all the Alien movies right now, and so after I finished Prometheus, I really wanted to watch it, but I don't have HBO Max. If you have HBO Max, you can watch Covenant. But Covenant, I wanted to. You watched Prometheus, so you remember that the android was evil, right?
Right.
So Covenant is about the android being evil.
Right. No, and
it's just that's all it is. That's the whole
great.
Movie.
Evil android. No, I mean Prometheus, I was going along with it, and then when they had the alien come out of the they're like, oh, this has nothing to do with Alien, and then the alien comes out. I'm like, okay, whatever. I thought it was silly. I want to
see what. That's the point. Like, I want to see what happened to that alien, that weird giant, because that thing's going to be huge. Because in Prometheus, when she has first off, I thought that scene was so cool that she just did surgery to herself. Like, I thought that was so badass. I love that scene. But that thing was huge, and it makes one of the hugest face suckers of all time against this giant of a man. So they create like this giant baby, and I want to see what happens to that baby. But we don't get that. Covenant doesn't give us that. Covenant just gives us evil android. We'll never know what happened to that giant alien.
Well, maybe you can write Prometheus too. Well, I think the thing about Alien Covenant is, from what I understand, is that they want to do Prometheus 2 and then have like a true alien as the third one, but they're like, no, Prometheus didn't do as well as we thought. We'll give you an alien movie, but it's got to be an alien. So he probably wrote it, and or whoever was working on the script wrote it, and he threw it out. I'm sure it was a studio thing, but Alien versus Predator. Now, the first guy that was cast is Lance Henriksen. Now, does this bother you?
Lance Henriksen?
No, we all love Lance Henriksen.
I met him in person. When I interviewed him a couple of times back when I was journalism. He's really great.
I'd love to hear those, but or read those. Was he a scary, intimidating?
Autobiography, not bad for a human. I had to read it, review it, and interview him about it. I don't know where they are now. Like that website, I don't know if they kept on that was like 10 years ago.
So I saw Lance Henriksen at Monster Palooza, and I was going to go up to him, but he's kind of intimidating.
He's very nice.
I'm sure he is, but he's still got that. He's got that steely glaze and that rough voice. Like, Hi, Nicole. How are you? I can only imagine. But does it bother you because he was the obviously the robot in Aliens and Alien 3.
No, I liked that. And then I liked him in Alien versus Predator. They did a good job saying that, like, they changed this obviously, but I enjoyed the way they tie in the mythology of the fact that this is what the head of the company looks like, and the robots were designed on him.
They should have, instead of Guy Pearce, they should have had him roll over to Prometheus.
It was Michael Fassbender.
No, that was a robot, but the guy that was in charge of the Wayland Corporation was Guy Pearce.
Oh, yeah.
And if they had Lance Henriksen, then all these moves would tie together. But I think Ridley Scott was like, "Screw Alien versus Predator, I'm doing my own thing." So
I think you're right.
But he's kind of in a weakened state in this. He's like he's sick, he's dying, and
that was such a cool scene where the Predator, and this is an AVP, just so everybody knows what we're talking about. The Predator takes a look at him, scans his body, sees that his lungs are full of cancer, and then just turns away like he's not good enough prey for him. And Lance Henriksen's like, "Don't you turn your back on me," and flamethrowers him, so he has to kill him, and he gets a noble warrior's death. Because
the Predator does not, if it doesn't pose a threat to the Predator, they move on. And I think that was established in Predator too, because Predator, everybody was a threat except for, I guess, Shane Black, but I guess he was a threat in some verbal way. But yeah, I always loved Lance Henriksen in the movie, but and I thought he was good in this, but he was not the lead. The lead was Sanaa Lathan.
Yes.
Who I really liked. And we were talking about this yesterday. Why didn't she become a huge star?
I don't know. Bad timing, I guess. Like, if she was out now, she'd be huge.
Right. She'd be Tessa Thompson.
Yeah.
I mean, she's still out now, but she's, 50 or whatever.
I mean, if she had the opportunity now that she had back then, she would be there's so many talented women of color that have just like brought such attitude and charisma to the screen, and she's definitely one of them. I think if she was now doing it when it's such a time that society is so accepting, not only accepting, society wants that. I think
they're casting it now.
Yeah.
But she was as I was telling you, she's beautiful.
Yeah.
She graduated from Yale drama. She can actually act.
Yeah.
And she does have a charisma on the screen. Like I said, first time I saw her, and I think the first time most people saw her, was in Blade.
Oh yeah, so good in Blade.
Played the mother.
Yeah.
Now they had another girl, Debussy Wright, I think her name was, that played the love interest of Blade, and she was very pretty and very good herself. But next to Leslie Snipes, she didn't have that kind of charisma to be next to Wesley. However, when Sanaa Lathan was next to him and next to Stephen Dorff, you're like, you can't take her eyes off her.
Yeah, she's gorgeous and very commanding presence for sure.
So after that, like, this was like her peak of stardom, because she was in Love and Basketball, I guess, was a big thing.
It was.
Brown Sugar, which I've never seen any of this. Brown Sugar, which I guess was a hit. Out of Time with Denzel Washington, and the rumor is that she had an affair with Denzel Washington.
Oh.
So then Alien versus Predator. So you're like, okay, she's hot, and then she doesn't make a movie. This was 2004. She doesn't make a movie until 2006, which is something new, which I've never heard of. Which looks like I have heard of this. This is like an interracial. Like she dates a white guy, and everybody gets weirded out about it. Tyler Perry movie.
Her agent just started making some bad choices.
Her agent sucks. So she starts doing like Tyler Perry movies. She's in Contagion, but very, very small role. Because I saw that very recently. She's in Now You See Me Too, a very small role. And she's just kind of, last time I saw her, she was in Succession, a very small role. And she was in The Twilight Zone too. So her career is not booming like it should be, because I think she's great, but and she's great in this. A true successor to Sigourney Weaver.
Well, she didn't have to be Sigourney Weaver, because she was technically, in my opinion, she was playing the role of a Glover more than Sigourney Weaver. Because
how racist? Stop it.
What?
Just because they're both black.
Because she was showing her hunting skills. That's what I'm talking about.
Right. Okay.
Jesus, Mark.
You said it, not me.
No,
No,
I wasn't
no, I
being
get what you're
racist.
saying.
I
I
mean,
get what
just
you're
because
saying.
two people are black does not mean that they are the same.
All right. Well, yeah. Well, if anybody's confusing that,
I meant the way that she bonded with the predator and the way that she like.
that was a
That's what I
very
was
Glover
talking
thing.
about.
I got.
Yes.
But if you confuse Danny Glover with Sanaa Lathan, you really need to get your eyes checked. You have more than astigmatism. But I thought she was terrific in the movie.
No,
and,
but I'm saying that she played more that role than she did the Sigourney Weaver role, because Sigourney Weaver didn't have that going on. It was just her versus the alien, and that was it. I'm saying she had more of an interaction with the predators.
Right. So Sigourney Weaver, that was like lightning in a bottle. She was like, everybody thought Tom Skerritt was like the lead, and she kind of came in, and she wasn't supposed to be a badass to start out with. She became a badass throughout the movie.
Yeah.
And Sanaa Lathan was always a badass. She shaves.
Always a badass. You get to see that in the beginning when she does that whole thing on the ice. Like, they wanted to portray her as a strong. She was, like I said, whoever made AVP was probably more of a fan of Predator than they were of Alien, is how the movie looks. Because the aliens weren't really developed. They were just sort of there to be scary. They were the threat. The real point of the movie is about the bonding and the friendship that happened between her and the Predator.
By the way, sidebar, and I thought I would get to this earlier, but I hate when they abbreviate titles. I hate it. I'm glad they don't really do it anymore, but I hate that shit. T2, AVP. The worst one ever was Independence Day, ID4. Where's the 4? That doesn't even make sense.
I think from 4th of July, maybe?
It's not in the title. How do you get ID4 and it's Independence Day? Just call it ID. What's the problem?
I don't know.
That's me. It would start with Terminator 2, like T2, and then now everything's well, kids movies, they do it. Like they do kids movies, but like the Marvel movies and all of them, they don't do like DS2 or anything like that, or T4. So it's good. So I'm glad they did. Now the erstwhile semi-romantic lead in this, what I think is a weak link in the movie, is Raul Bova.
I liked him. I thought he was very, but here's why I liked him, because he was always the one talking all the intelligent stuff, and I dig that.
Right, but he's an Italian actor, so he's got an accent, so that's distracting. But to me, and this is the difference between Sanaa Lathan and him. Now, he's a good-looking guy.
Yes.
But I didn't think he was terribly charismatic, and when he was on screen, he just sort of.
I don't think he's supposed to be. I think he's supposed to be kind of a beta male. I don't think he's supposed to be an alpha. Like in Predators, when they cast
Adrian Brody,
Grace. And he was supposed to be a commanding presence because he was going to take the lead. He was an alpha. With AVP, they wanted the girl to take the lead, so she was the alpha, and the other guy was just there as like an intelligent mind. That
he's supposed to be an archaeologist, not a badass. Yes, I get that.
Exactly. He's there to be smart, not strong.
But he was there to flirt with her too.
Yes, he was.
Sort of be like,
they did a good job with that. I enjoyed that flirtationship.
And he's not like Adrian Brody. He's a solidly built guy, and so I don't know. He sort of blended in, and I didn't think it was that great. But
I liked
what
him.
do I know?
But I enjoyed my favorite part of the movie.
Yeah, the Pepsi bottle cap and all that. But
I like that stuff. Like he brought a brain and a heart to it.
Okay. All right. And a bad accent. But then, speaking of accents, and speaking of that, Ewan Bremner, who was in Trainspotting, and I see he was the beta male to me.
He was a really big beta, but he was the pussy of the movie could have been fine without him. Like, he didn't bring anything to it, in my opinion.
No, he was a comic relief, obviously.
If you say so, he wasn't.
Yeah, I didn't think it was funny, but he was supposed to be the comic relief. And his career is weird because, like, you forget about him and then he pops up in things. Like, I forgot about him and he's in Wonder Woman. You forgot about him, he's in Alien vs. Predator, and like, and he was great in Trainspotting, and he was fine in this. Yeah, he was fine in this. It's not his fault that they didn't write him any funny lines, but and of course, kids watching this movie today will laugh at the old school camera technology, but the 2004 camera technology.
Yeah.
And the other guy, Colin Salmon, very briefly, which he's the guy that he's the British black guy who got everybody together, and he's always good when I see him. He was the guy
I like him a lot.
in Resident Evil that
Yeah,
gets
great in
chopped
Resident
up.
Evil. Yeah.
But, yeah, he gets all chopped up. But Paul W.S. Anderson, I know you stole that from Cube, but it was still a cool effect. Cube has influenced so many movies, but anyway, so there's and also Tommy Flanagan, who was now in Westworld and was in Sons of Anarchy and has the scars on his face. He's in there.
Yes.
That's basically not a lot of humans, and they just kind of take them off one by one. There's another like badass female, but she gets killed really early. And so basically, the plot, if you haven't seen it, is there's a pyramid way down in the ice, like hundreds of feet down in the ice, and then so everybody's got to rappel down to this pyramid, and once they get to the pyramid, something opens up, and you see 3 futuristic guns, and the humans make the mistake of taking the guns, and everything seals up, and everybody's separated, even though Sanaa Lathan's like, don't get separated. They get separated, and mayhem ensues. The aliens escape, and the predators, for some reason, coincidentally, just happen to be there. Like at the beginning of the movie, they fly in.
No, they talk about it.
Okay,
so
tell me about this, because
all right,
I missed
so
this.
The predators were already in Earth's atmosphere, and then they the pyramid started emitting a pulse, a sound or something, a trigger that was supposed to lure the humans down there. He was coming in for the hunt, but they took
okay.
Because the predators come back for this hunt like every so often.
Right. Okay, so the humans are the bait.
Yeah, they were the bait. They need the humans there so that they can make the aliens, so that the hunt can begin. That's why they had the sacrificial chamber. Back in the day, this was an ancient civilization, and they practiced human sacrifice, and they sacrificed the humans to the gods, which were both the alien and the predator, so that the hunt could begin.
Okay, so we'll clear up another plot point for me, because I didn't catch this percentage, or the first couple times. At the end, the predator and our hero escape in a sled that zooms up the tunnel that somebody built.
That tunnel was drilled by the predators.
I got that was drilled by the predators. When did they lower down the sled?
I have no idea. It's probably a plot hole.
I was looking at that. I was like, wait a second. They're zooming up because I remember when they were trapped down there, I'm like, there's no way they're going to be able to climb back up.
Yeah.
But apparently they had a sled that zooms right up.
Yeah, I don't know. That was just plot. I think that was just bad plot.
Yeah, so basically,
and last night, as our friend Alan mentioned, there was also the issue with the acid and how it only like left little scars instead of burning through a whole body. So there were a lot of little plot flaws.
Well, but I think the predator like knew. I don't know. Does a drop like kill you? I don't know.
I don't know. That's a good point. Maybe you can have a little bit of acid on you and it's okay.
I don't know. It depends on the acid, but
that's it. That's exactly true. We don't know.
And yeah, because here's the thing about the acid. I don't remember like the first Alien, and I have to see it again. It's been a while since I've seen it. I don't remember a lot of acid.
They show the acid only like when they have the face cutter, the face hugger on his face, and then they cut the little tentacle, and then he bleeds acid.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, it's the last there.
And then it like eats through the whole of the ship. So.
And an Alien versus Predator.
They show it there, but they don't really show it with the big alien as much.
Right. Alien versus Predator, AVP, if you will. They're shooting acid out of their tail. I don't remember that.
The tail got chopped.
No, but they were doing it too.
The tail got chopped. That's why it had acid coming out of its tail. It doesn't shoot acid unless you wound it. So if you wound the alien, it automatically bleeds acid. That's why they did that in the Alien Resurrection, where they started attacking each other because they wanted the acid. You have to. The tail got chopped.
I thought about this a lot more than
I just.
I was like, wait a second, acid comes out of the tail now? I just
And
remember
then
it coming
they
out of the
chopped
face.
the tail. The tail got chopped. Like the tip of it got chopped off.
Right. So basically, it's 10 little Indians. Everybody gets killed except for Sanaa Lathan, and everybody dies in heroic ways. And
Yeah.
your buddy, he's Lance Henriksen, and your buddy sacrifice themselves for her, and she makes friends with the Predator. Now, how realistic is this?
I love it. It doesn't have to be realistic. I like it.
Yeah.
I wish we lived in a world where you could. I mean, as they say, she gives the gun back to show that she's not going to be his enemy. And then she tells him, my problem with it is, how did the Predator understand as much English as he did? Because she tells him that she's going to come with him. And so he's like, okay, fine. So he makes her this shield out of the alien's skull that it can hold on to the acid.
That was cool.
Yeah. And
a spear, and
a little spear with the tail. And yeah, so it's very unrealistic that she would have made hunting buddies with the Predator, but I love that she did. I think that's really great writing, and I enjoy it.
Well, she was genuflecting in front of him and throwing the gun at him. So I don't think it does understand English, because when they always have the Predator view with the infrared thing, it's always garbled. So I don't know if he does.
Yeah.
They do,
but somehow they were able to communicate, even though they didn't understand each other at all.
Right. And do you like the infrared thing? Do you like when the Predator does that?
I don't care. It doesn't strike me one way or the other.
And by the way, the funniest thing about that I just found out was in the first Predator movie, they were in the desert, or they were in the jungle.
Yeah, I was like, what?
They were in the jungle. It was 100 degrees. So they tried to actually shoot it in infrared, but it was so hot, it was body temperatures, beyond body temperature, that people didn't show up.
Oh, wow.
So they had to actually do it by computer. And I would imagine Predator 2 was supposed to be hot too, the same thing. So I don't know.
That's cool. That's cool to know.
So let's just cut to the chase now, please. We haven't spoiled. We're going to spoil the ending right now. So if you haven't seen AVP, go watch it. But it's
on Hulu for free.
It is on Hulu for free if you have Hulu. Well, you got to pay for Hulu, but the whole movie is Alien versus Predator. You're waiting for the big battle between Alien versus Predator, and there's more than one alien, which is weird. But you get the mother alien versus the Predator. There's more than one Predator too, but anyway. So Alien versus Predator, neither one of them wins. Sanaa Lathan wins.
Yes.
She beats the alien, not the Predator.
Yes.
But then the alien gets the last word because the alien pops out of the Predator.
Yeah, a little baby with a little Predator face.
So what went wrong with Alien versus Predator, or AVPR? Requiem, Aliens versus Predator Requiem.
I haven't watched it since that time I watched it in theaters, because I just didn't want to watch it again. The only scene I remember being kind of like, that was something interesting, was the scene where the alien couldn't breed properly or something. So it went to the women who were going into labor at the hospital, and it pumps one of them full of babies. That was so fucked up.
I thought you were going to say you learned Lamaze.
No. He goes in and he uses pregnant women in order to and it's just, they wanted to create an entirely different kind of, because it's the first time they've crossed an alien and Predator together.
Right.
And so it was crazy. It was just a crazy movie. And I remember I had a friend who was in the military, and they were so upset at all the military maneuvers. Like, that isn't how that would happen. That isn't how we'd set up a perimeter. That is. So I had that in my ear the whole time. Oh,
great. Somebody debating the realism of Alien versus Predator Requiem.
It was terrible. So I just haven't watched it again since.
So then
it was just a very unrealistic movie. And I mean, Alien versus Predator is unrealistic also, but it was enjoyable for me. It had traits I like, with earning the respect of your peers. Alien versus Predator has like a lot of concepts that are like things you'd read in a book or an anime or something, you know, like the concept of banding together with your enemy in order to like overcome a common threat and earning respect and all the little cool stuff. All that stuff reminds me of like something I would have read that I would have liked. Alien versus Predator Requiem, I don't know where they got their stuff from, but it was just, I think they got it mostly, I think they like Aliens because they like the military aspect, but their military was like, as my friend was saying, all wrong. So I don't know. Whereas the military in Aliens was really cool and really well developed, which is a testament to James Cameron.
Yeah, I just see this is why this conflated with I think I watched both of them really close together, and I didn't see one of them in the theater. I saw them both on DVD, which by the way, kids, it's a disc that you put in a machine, and but this is what we used to do before streaming. But I just remember like I thought Alien vs. Predator was when they were on Earth and they had annoying teenage characters and all that other stuff. But that's AVPR.
Yeah,
and this one was, when I rewatched it, I'm like, this is totally, I forgot all about this. So it was a surprisingly good watch, and it breathed new life into the Predator franchise.
Yeah.
I hate when they call movies franchises too, but anyway. And so they started making more Predator movies. Like for some reason now everybody loves Predator. So they had the Adrian Brody Predators, which I think is on Hulu too.
It is. I watched that first. Because the Alien movies came back afterwards. Like they had Predators on for a little while, and then they brought all the Alien movies back, except Requiem. Oh no, they have Requiem. Sorry, except Covenant. Covenant's the only one they don't have.
So they've got so Predators. They have all of Earth's Greatest Hunters, which apparently includes Adrian Brody and Topher Grace, and
I knew Topher. We're gonna ruin this, so spoilers. But I knew that Topher Grace was a serial killer. Like he just had all the traits of a serial killer, even though he was pretending like I knew that's what he was. Like when I watched it the first time.
Well, he does in real life, so there you go. But and then they had The Predator, which I've never seen, which I remember people were very excited about, and I never saw it. The Shane Black one, where he wrote and directed it, and
I haven't seen that one either.
I remember people were so hyped up to see it, and everybody that saw it said it's not good. So apparently there's a lot of studio interference. And coming up, not AVP3, but Prey.
Yeah,
which is already getting
good or not. It's I have a hard time believing that primal human beings could take on a predator.
Well, but this will be primal predator, so I'm assuming
they
won't have the thing on their wrist that they
I'm sure they will have that. I'm sure they're not going to be primal predators. I'm sure they're going to be regular predators, and somehow there'll be all these cool little tricks like setting traps or something. It's gonna be totally unbelievable.
But the thing that you liked about Alien and Alien versus Predator that people online are complaining about as being for woke and for snowflakes is that a strong woman apparently is the hero, and I would assume either strikes an alliance with a predator or survives at the end.
We'll see. I just have a hard time believing that bows and arrows that couldn't defeat us, you know, the white man can't defeat a predator. Like it's really fucked up what we did to the Native Americans, and that's just people talk about that in alien movies all the time. That if aliens were to come here, it would be exactly like that. They'd be able to outman us, outweapon us, and everything. I don't see how primal natives could take them. I just don't see how they could win.
Perhaps aliens have already done that.
Are you talking like lizard people?
Well, I will say that for another show. So what's the bottom line with Alien versus Predator? I actually saw it for the first time since it came out because you had hyped it up so much, and it was a lot better than I remembered. I think it is. I think it's not only the third best Alien movie, but probably at least the third best Predator movie. I go Predator 2, Predator, and then Alien versus Predator, and Alien versus Predator might be actually better than Predator, the original.
I think I like it more, but I don't think it's the better film. I would say that. And because Predator, the original Predator, is just so revolutionary.
Yeah. So, but I mean, I would say, did you like the Predators better than Alien vs. Predator?
I was actually just thinking that I don't know. I think I like them about the same. I think technically Predators is the better movie,
Okay.
but I think I like them the same.
All right. So the bottom line is we like Alien versus Predator. It's dumb. It's a popcorn movie. It's an action movie. It's a horror movie. It's not to be taken seriously. It's not to be analyzed.
Yeah, no,
It's like
for
a
fun.
Paul. It's a typical Paul W.S. Anderson movie in that it's meant to be watched and enjoyed, and turn your brain off for a couple hours and then switch it back on afterwards. And among his filmography, it's probably right behind the first Mortal Kombat, first Resident Evil. I haven't seen Event Horizon, so I haven't seen
Most
that.
people would probably say Event Horizon's better than AVP. That's just because Event Horizon has a huge cult following because it was so gnarly.
Yeah. So I don't know what Paul W.S. Anderson is doing other than, making love to Mila Jovovich, which I'm very jealous of. And I think that's why, that's another reason he gets a bad rap. But I don't know why, since they're only making superhero movies, they don't entrust one to him. But who knows? I'm sure he's got his own thing going on. And I look forward to some more.
Yeah.
I wish there were more Resident Evil movies coming up, but there's not.
Yeah. There's a new Resident Evil series.
Yet.
I'm going to give it a shot. We'll see. I don't know if it'll be what I'm used to, but I've liked every Resident Evil animated film that's come out. So I think I just like Resident Evil.
Well, nobody's going to eat you again, but hopefully they read your book, Slow Burn, which is available on lulu.com, and tell everybody how they can get a hold of you.
So Slow Burn is on lulu.com, and you can get a hold of me at Nicole6books on Instagram or Nicole H6 on Facebook.
And I'm Goth Comedian on all social media. Do you think this is a spinoff? Do you think this has some future?
I think I like it. I think it's interesting. It has a different energy than our normal show.
That's for sure. But hey, if everybody else is talking movies on podcasts, we might as well too. I got to come up with a title, but MVN only goes so far. So that's Mark versus Nicole. And I'm Goth Comedian, as I said, on all social media. Everybody have a wonderfully creepy week. Bye.
Bye.